Sonia Booker.
This is the Sonia Booker Show, insight that builds wealth and confidence. Sonia Booker is president and CEO at Sonia Booker Enterprises, online at soniabooker.com. Helping you go from everyday living to wealth building, Sonia is an accomplished author and speaker, well known for her wealth building strategies and results. Here to inspire, inform, and empower. Your host, Sonia Booker.
Hey, it's Sonia Booker, your wealth builder, and I'm here with another episode of Conversations with Sonia. I am bringing you some amazing people. Some you know, some you're meeting for the first time, but for me, it's all about wealth building, real estate, legacy, all those things that I love to talk about. I just want to bring more awareness to some of the amazing people who are doing some amazing things. And so speaking of amazing things, I am here today with Tina, the home investor. If you follow her on IG, Christina is her name.
Yes.
Christina, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to meet you for the first time. So I've been following you, but I didn't know that I was following you. It's just kind of like, sometimes that's the thing about social media. And I always tell people, I was always doing the work and not necessarily telling people I was doing the work. It's such a different, so I have to be more like, oh, I need to post on social media.
Exactly.
I didn't get on Facebook probably for it's probably been like 5 years that I have had my account and stuff. And so it's been for me, it's been like a big transition, into that world. Whereas people like you come in and it's like you embrace it and use it to tell your story. And so I was just inspired that I love to see women in real estate investing. A lot of people know I've been investing for 20 years, and I wrote one of the first books, especially one that I know of, and I should know because I was looking for real estate books that look like people by people that look like me when I first started investing. And that was over 20 years ago. And so I couldn't find that. And so after one of my pledges that I made was when I master it, good, bad, and ugly, I want to make sure that I leave a footprint to be able to give other people that guidance, because sometimes I would read books from people and I could get the nuggets out of it, but they didn't look like me. They didn't remind me of me. They didn't have similar, backgrounds, or I wasn't left anything. It was just like all these different things that, especially as a woman getting started at that point, it was just kind of like you didn't see it, And so I thought that was important, to really be able to write that book. And so when I watch women getting into the industry, I've had women say, I've shown up to speak somewhere and they're like, you pioneered real estate investing for women. I'm like, I'm too young to be a pioneer, first of all. Let's get that out. But I didn't think about how important my work was and the idea that I just kept showing up. And by showing up, it gave the door for so many people to come through it. And I think sometimes, what if I stopped showing up? Because I was the only girl, I was the only Black girl, I was only, and it was just like at any point had I stopped, like, what would that have been like? And now when I get to see like you, yes. And I'm like, what if I had stopped? Like, because it made it, I think we always have to see what's possible. Yeah. And so for you, when you started, because you have such a interesting story of how you were a single mom. You were pretty young when you bought your first property.
I purchased my first investment property in 2013 when my employer laid me off.
Okay.
I had $33,000 in my 401k. I used every dime to purchase my investment property.
Okay.
A lot of people told me I was crazy because I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't know anything about renovating the property. And then of course, they informed me that I should never touch my 401k. So yeah, that one decision changed my life because it opened up the door for me to purchase more rental properties.
Okay, wow. And so now you see how all the don't do this, I wouldn't do this. Like, what if you had listened? What made you not listen?
Because I have always been a risk taker.
Okay.
Outside of my 9 to 5 or my corporate job, I've always had a side hustle. I sold coffee, purses, tea, jewelry, you name it.
You
I've done it, but
always.
I hit the jackpot with real estate because it allows me to generate passive income or pajama money or making money in my sleep. So I love everything about real estate.
Okay, tell me about it. Because you were talking about how my face lit up. You know, your face lit up. You said, your project. So, okay. Now, you did this 2013.
Yes.
2013, such an interesting time because, we had the downturn 2008. It depends on, I always tell people, it depends on where you were is when you felt the downturn of real estate.
Right. Yes.
Some people felt it earlier, which was good. I actually felt it earlier. So
Okay.
then I had an amazing mentor. And so he was telling me, oh, this market's not right. Something's not right about this market. Start pulling back. And so you don't get caught with a bunch of stuff. And this was like 2005 and going into 2006. And so he had been at that point, he was a real estate developer, late Herman Russell Senior. And so it was just kind of like, how do I have that kind of guidance and knowledge and not listen to it, even though it seemed like to me things were going great. I was just like, this is going great. But that wisdom of, no, this is not, like the market's out of whack. And so prices were getting jacked up. Everybody was getting all kind of loans that should never have hit the open market. So you had all this stuff going on. So by 2012, you really started to see this kind of rebound, and it was some pretty good deals on the market. So in this 2013, you're laid off, you do everything that people tell you not to do, and do you flip that first property?
No, I did a full renovation.
Okay.
And I kept that property as a rental property. It was a foreclosure. I
Okay.
paid $47,000 for that property.
Okay.
At an interest rate of 2.625%. And that same investment property is worth $200,000 today.
Okay, jackpot.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Tina, what is it? The home renovator?
Tina, the home investor.
Like, what? Okay, we got to come back and we got to talk about just all that you did, and then, I mean, just all of that. So we got to digest that. $200,000, people. Okay, from
$47,000.
$47,000. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. All right. Okay, so you had, like, I remember my first deals, and I always, it's kind of a bittersweet because sometimes I think you get those first deals and sometimes they're really good. And then you're always like trying to match that type of deal. And, I just remember starting in my book, I talk about the book Real Estate and Wealth, Investing in the American Dream. I talk about, I had to be so transparent in the book, and I had to, because I knew if I didn't, it really wouldn't help people.
Right.
So it was like, it's so easy when you're like, everything is going great, like I'm killing it, I'm making the money. But I remember my one deal, I was probably, maybe this was probably like my fifth or sixth deal. And everything's going good, and the next thing I know, everything goes wrong. Like everything that I thought I could save in that property had to be replaced, right? And so it's just like contractors, everybody's calling, we need more money. Well, where am I gonna get more money from? And I'm just trying to get it finished. I'm like in the bed, with the sheet over my head, like no more calls, like turn the phone off. How am I gonna make this happen, right? And I remember thinking, and I made a whole pact with God. I was like, if you get me out of this, I will never touch real estate again. You know? Like, I promise, like, I'm done. Like, just get me out of this. And, you know, and I realized I ended up getting out of it with a break even, like, you know, by the skin of my teeth. And I remember, like, kind of reflecting back on it, like, okay, I'm going to keep my pack. I'm going to go find another career. Because that was like, you know, and it was like, that wasn't the point. I wanted you to learn from that. And it made me switch my whole model, my whole investing model through that. And so now I overestimate everything. I assume that I'm gonna have to replace everything, you know? And so I do my numbers that way so that if I'm able to save anything, I add all that back to my profit.
Wow.
So if I look at it, you know, and so now, and that's the way that, you know, the book is written, and I know women and men, everybody that buy the book, they're always like, I follow this, you know, I'm like, this will help you sleep at night, because it is nothing worse than, like, you know, bleeding cash, you know. So you had this good one. Where did you go from there? Like, you've done so much, and that was 2013.
Yes.
So, I mean, when I look at your roster of the type of things you've done, talk about those. Talk about, like, some of the different things you did.
Sure. So one of the strategies that I've tried was buy and hold. That's my specialty.
Yes.
So I buy properties, I renovate them and rent them out.
Yeah.
I've done flips. I've done mobile home investing, Airbnb, mobile home investing, and midterm rentals. And I
Okay.
purchased land. So
Okay.
you name it, I've done it all.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have, okay, what's your
Yes.
favorite?
So my top favorite is my rental properties.
Okay.
I get attached to my babies.
I know, they're like, baby, I'm like, I call myself a property hoarder. Yeah, like some people like collect shoes or collect. I want my real estate holdings to be higher than my shoe collection. I don't know. I know it's just me. You know. But yeah, and so I like to hoard property because that's where you get the value, and that's where you get the asset, the growth out of the asset. So I'm always like, okay, so your favorite is buy and hold. We share that in common. And as your rental, what do you think that you do? Do you do anything that you feel put you at a different advantage, or your strategy?
Of course.
Of
So one of the
course.
strategies that I use is I buy my houses as an owner occupant. That means I move into my houses 1st. That allows me to put a little bit of money down, and my
Yeah.
interest rates are lower. And then at some point in time, I move out. So that strategy has worked successful for me.
Yeah.
But one of the things that separates me from other investors, my job is to appease and to serve my tenants.
Okay.
I love my tenants and they love me. They don't
Okay.
go anywhere.
Uh-huh. And so you have real long-term good tenants.
Yes.
Do you feel like your screening is a little different? Do you do a screening?
Well, I pray that God send me a good tenant, and He
Okay.
always does.
So some prayer in there.
A
Y'all
lot
better
of
listen
prayer
to
in
that. A
there.
lot of prayer
So a
in
lot
there.
of my tenants, they do come from referrals, and I do believe in giving people second chances. So if their credit score is low, well, that's fine. I understand.
Yeah.
If they have felons, that's fine. I understand. And I also teach my tenants on how to become owners
Yeah.
if they would like to.
Okay, so you actually encourage that, like you, and try to, now, have they bought some of your properties? Like, have you put them on track to
Well, they don't
purchase?
have any desire to purchase a
Okay,
house at
okay.
this point in
Uh-huh.
time.
But
So I
when
felt
that point comes, like, it's something you would entertain or try to help them find something else.
Yes, I will entertain them and
Yeah.
try to assist them with finding another property
Right.
to purchase.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's your favorite. What's your second? What's your second strategy?
Airbnb.
Okay.
I discovered that strategy about 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
I like that strategy because of the amount of money that a person can make monthly.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the Airbnb arbitrage strategy because you actually don't have to own the property. And instead of putting a substantial amount of money down, you
Yeah.
only have to pay the first month's rent and the deposit. So that's my
Okay.
second favorite.
Okay. Okay. And do you do that a lot with single family residents or apartments or condos? Like, or have you done it with both?
Okay, so the Airbnb that I had, I actually own that property.
Okay.
Here
Yeah.
recently, I'm subleasing a property for the first time,
Okay.
and
Okay.
it is an apartment,
Uh-huh.
and I'm renting it out as a mid-term rental, which means the guests have to stay in their property in increments of 30 days.
Uh-huh.
Once the short-term rental guidelines change, then I
Yeah.
make it a short-term rental or an Airbnb also. But I
Okay.
love that strategy because guess what I did?
What you do? Tell me.
I paid the rent, I
Mm-hmm.
paid the deposit, and
Mm-hmm.
I furnished the property with my American Express business credit card
Uh-huh.
at a 0% interest rate through next year. So I'm transitioning to using other people's money.
Good
And I
old
love everything about it.
OPM. Good old
Yes.
OPM. You gotta learn how to use the OPM strategy. That is, I mean, and I feel like real estate is one of the best ways to build wealth. When you think about the OPM, where do you go and get 95% of somebody else's money to build your wealth, that you get all of the upside and all of the advantage and somebody else's money to build that wealth. So I love to see women in real estate, especially women in real estate investing. You have this thing that you always say, like, I'm not a real estate agent. And you don't say it with any shade. Why do you have to say that? Why do you have to clarify that?
Sure, because a lot of people get confused and they think I am a real estate agent. However, it is my job to be clear on what I do, how I do it, and why
Right.
I do it.
Yeah.
So, as a real estate investor, you actually do not have to have a any type of license. So that's why I stress that.
Yeah, so it's like this the information, advice, or anything I'm doing is all on me
Yes.
that I'm providing. I'm not beholden to any state information or anything like that. I think that that is important. And I too, I've been the same way. I've never held a real estate license. I've gone through some of the information and some of the classes because I just found it interesting. But it does put you at a different level of, you know, honest to disclose that when you're out because it's like I get to represent myself. You get to represent yourself. I just happen to be an investor, but if I'm talking to someone about selling their house and they don't know how much to sell it for, or I happen to get it for under market, then hey,
Yes.
All right, so as we try to round out this goodness here, you recently left your full-time job.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So I have been working since I was 15 years old, no gap in employment.
Okay.
So I'm getting ready to be an empty nester soon.
Uh-huh.
So I figured this was the time for me to pursue my goals and my dreams on a different level. So I'm getting ready to transition and do one of the things that God has purposed me to do full time,
Okay.
which is to teach people how to build wealth through home ownership and purchasing rental properties. I also like to teach people about business credit and personal credit. I
Okay.
love everything about financial literacy.
So you're about to embark upon a full-time wealth building, financial literacy, sharing information journey.
Yes.
And you got to the point where you said, I'm going to be an empty nester. It is just time. And is that following your true purpose and passion, do you feel, and being able to make that decision?
Absolutely. So actually, last year, I learned that life is not fulfilling until I surrendered and obeyed God. I've been teaching people about investing in real estate one-on-one since 2013.
Yeah.
I just started teaching in-person classes last year in
Okay.
Tennessee. All of my classes sold out. So this is one of the things that he called
And
me to
he's been
do.
pushing you and so showing you that. And it's like, that is so good.
Thank
But it
you.
also shows you how hungry people are. And I think hungry for good information. And I also feel like, when we do learn something that we really should, that we have that we really should share it forward. Yeah, that we didn't just get it to just stop, and
Yes.
not go anywhere with that. So I'm really proud of you to be charting that course.
Oh, thank you. So I believe in each one, teach one, each one, reach one. So
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to launch my first digital course
Okay.
on or before July the 31st. So I'm extremely excited about that new venture. And
Yeah.
as far as me posting on social media, all of that is me stepping out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Like being here with me is out of your comfort zone, and here
Of
it is.
course.
You've heard it here first. This new digital course.
Yes.
You heard it here. And so this is really good. And the other thing that have, because I don't even have to ask you, like, the prayerfulness around, because I can already tell you are a woman of faith and prayer,
Yes.
that your decisions have been ordered and you're surrendered. That's
Yes.
good. That's a good word. All right. So when you think about this future generation, and you have a daughter.
I have two daughters. I had
have-
my first child in high school
Okay.
when I was 17. And despite of me being a teen parent, that didn't prevent me from accomplishing my goals or my dreams.
Yeah, that's really good. And so two daughters.
Yes, 27 and 17. And they are
Okay.
absolutely amazing.
Amazing.
Yes.
And so you have like this whole 10-year gap between it's like two lifetimes of children, like, oh my gosh. And so your daughter that's getting ready for college now, the 17-year-old.
Yes.
I see that you have been posting and sharing ways that you're setting her up for wealth building success. What have been some of those things you're doing for your daughter?
Sure, I'm sharing words of wisdom and knowledge. It excites me when she comes home and explains that she told her classmates about the world of real estate and she knows what an FHA loan is and she knows what credit is.
Yeah.
Not only that, once she graduates college in 4 years, she can become a real estate investor if she would like to, and she will never have to touch a clock if that's what she desires
if that's
to
what
do.
she desires.
And not only that, guess what?
What?
I get to pass down my houses to them.
Yes.
Once they have kids, they get to pass down the houses to them, and it goes on and on and on.
So the generational wealth building. And did it start with you and your generation? Did it?
It did.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
Because
Yeah.
home ownership, that was something I never saw. I wasn't taught financial literacy, so I think that's why I'm so passionate about teaching others.
Yeah, that's good. And so the tips around like business credit and personal credit. So you've put her on your credit, you're putting her on your American Express or on one of your credit cards
As an authorized
as an authorized user. And I think that that's really important that people understand that as a tip and a way to start helping their children build wealth and have that mindset and have that good credit as they're building out. Now, nobody told me about credit cards when I was in college. I wish somebody had told me. So and my mom didn't put me on no American Express on nothing because, as an authorized user is different from, you're not getting my credit card. You're not getting a hold of my credit card.
Absolutely.
And so I had no concept, of that whole thing. And I think that by being able to empower your children and your child that way, it teaches them so much responsibility, and they get things that they don't get it easy, but they get it with like a lot of information and lesson. I think that that's something that we have to, that's the responsibility. And I think some kind of way we missed that in some generations where you've had parents just say, I don't want my child to have to work as hard as I did, but the harder you worked is what really got you to the success. And then you're like, I don't want my child to have to do that. But then the child does nothing. They have no work ethic because you were trying to protect them. You know what I mean? And I think that you telling them why I'm doing this and what does this mean to their financial future is important, not just mama hooking you up with good credit, baby.
Yeah.
you're gonna have 800, okay? Yeah, but those principles. Tell me real quick about your thoughts on business credit, because I always tell people, and then I looked at Christina's page and her stuff and what she was saying and how she's saying it before even wanting to invite her to my show. It's like I love the information, but I always like to just be able to have some sense of the person's either doing. So many people are sharing and selling information that's not even doing. So many people telling you how to invest in real estate and they've never even done it, or they did it like years ago.
Right.
It didn't even work the same way. You know what I'm saying? So many new, and people are paying big money, taking courses, and it's like, what in the world? So I tune in and I'm always like, is she really doing this? Let me see. Is she really doing it? Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and that's important. And so when you talk about business credit, because you have so many people talking about business credit.
Yes, I just discovered it 2 years ago.
Okay, well, how have you, and again, you discovered it for yourself,
Yes.
then mastered it and figured it out, and then you're now wanting to share it because it's like, and I think and so tell us, what do you feel about it, and what's your strategy around business credit?
Sure. So I love everything about business credit.
Oh, tell us more.
Yes. I like it for several reasons.
Okay.
One of the reasons I like business credit because it's separate from my personal credit score, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't affect my utilization.
Okay.
Another reason I like it because I learned in the world of real estate, when I purchase my next investment property, I can actually remove money off my credit card and wire it to the title company on the day of closing.
The day of
so once
closing.
again, I'm transitioning to using other people's money. That's why I love the world of business credit.
Good, and to have a plan and a strategy for everything you do. You're very strategic about everything you do. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, Christina, is that your name growing up, like Tina?
No. Christina. They call
Right.
me Christina, but you can call me Tina. It
But
doesn't matter.
you use Tina, the home
I
investor.
figured Christina would be too long.
Okay.
Christina, the home investor.
Okay, so Tina, the home investor. Okay, I am so happy to give you a copy of my new book. Yes, it's called Living Legacy, Purpose, Passion, Prosperity. And I definitely know that you represent all of that. I think about, what comes to your mind when you think about the word legacy? Like, what legacy are you leaving?
The legacy I would like to leave is to inspire, to motivate, and to encourage people. I like to let everybody know that if I can do it as a single mom, then I always tell people, then you can too.
You can too.
And it's not about me. It's about serving.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
passing my knowledge on to the next generations after me.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is definitely bigger than me.
And you know what? And that's the reason, I'm so glad you said that. That's the reason I entitled this book Living Legacy. Because you're living your legacy every day. The way you're living today is the way that is what you're leaving behind, but you're doing it today. It's not like, you know what I mean? Because people would always think legacy was like, oh, I don't want to talk about legacy. I got to be dead, And that's I was like, no, you're living it. Those decisions, those things you're doing, you're putting all that together to say, my generation is going to be better because I was here and the decisions that I made. So thank you so much for your contribution to the industry, to the community, and to the kingdom.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being an inspiration to me and to the community. And I'm so excited about my book.
All right. Well, until the next time, you have been listening, watching Conversations with Sonia, and I have just so enjoyed my time with Tina, the real estate, the home investor. And I'm just looking forward to all the amazing things that we're going to see Christina do. So make sure you're following her on Tina, the home investor, and that you're downloading her new digital program. I'm sure it's going to tell you so much and give you so much knowledge. And so until the next time, happy wealth building.
Bye-bye.